when you get to this place, and I've talked about it many times, about where you surrender and you let go and you start to realize that there is something bigger moving all the pieces around, and all of these things that we call coincidences begin to show up much more frequently in our lives when we start to align ourselves with our natural source, a source of being, when we begin to recognize that we and God are one. And it's happening for me again in my life. What is happening is that I am going to begin writing another book. I got to turn it in a year from June, I've been told. So that's June of 2011, which gives me about 15 months to complete this book. And I've kind of known this, and it's going to be called Wishes Fulfilled. I've talked about some of the concepts here on the show. And when you do surrender and when you let go and you begin to realize that you're not the one in charge of all of this, that you just, that I've often said that motivation is when you get a hold of an idea and you take it to where you want it to go, but inspiration is the reverse. Inspiration is when an idea gets a hold of you and it takes you where you were intended to go, where you signed up for before you ever got here. And then when you get to that place where you really surrender with it, you begin to see things happening. And I'm just noticing things happening in my life. Like I drove all the way over to the other side of the island last week for no apparent reason. I went to watch the second showing of the Wishes Fulfilled thing, but I really didn't need to be there. I just drove over. And I wandered into a bookstore, and I'm standing in this bookstore looking through different things, and this great big thick book in there, the completed, all the total work of a man named James Allen, who wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh that I've quoted in the past, and I've sort of skimmed through it in my life. But this is about a 1,000-page book of all of the works of this man who lived back in the early 1900s, like 1903, 1904. He was writing As a Man Thinketh. And I would look through it, and I thought, this is interesting. I'd put it back because I didn't want to carry it, and I'd put it back again. And finally, I just said, well, I guess I came over here to get it, and I picked it up. And I found myself this weekend studying it and outlining it and using different ideas for the writing that I'm going to do. And I picked up another book called Spontaneous Evolution, Bruce Lipton's book. That's a Hay House book. And both of them are about the power of the mind and taking care of things, not just attracting things into your life, like what you want to get for yourself, but how to really look at all the circumstances of your life and look at your health and look at your relationships and look at it from a perspective of how you attract these things into your life through your thought processes. Just sort of on the fringe of what I want to write about. But what I notice is that every single time it's about time for me to write a book, that these kinds of things happen, and then I find myself studying, and then I find myself, and I never plan any study time. I never plan to go over and get that James Allen book. I didn't plan to have this, the Bruce Lipton book there. I didn't. All of it is just sort of what happens when you really surrender and when you really let go, and you know that you're connected to a source that will direct things, as it says in the Tao. You're doing nothing. You're just being done. But let yourself be done and stop the interfering process. And I'm sitting there last night taking notes and thinking to myself, here I go again. It must be time for me to write a book, because this is what I do every single time before I actually start the writing process. It's almost as if the universe starts preparing me, and if I surrender to it, I can say to myself, I drove all the way across this island, went all the way over there, not to sit in and see the second showing of a lecture that I gave, but to pick up this book that is this James Allen book, which has been just so written in the language of the early 1900s, much more not contemporary kind of language that we use, but all of it has the same. It's like, here's James Allen now talking to me from the other side, and I didn't even know why I drove over there. And it works both ways. It works in the positive, and it also works in the negative. That if you start thinking that you can't do something, then the universe will start providing you with experiences that match up to that as well. So I guess what I'm saying is that when you stay connected and you allow, and you have a knowing that this book is going to be completed, I already have the cover of it and everything in front of me, then just relax and just watch and just notice. And it's like you get your ego out of the way and just allow it to sort of flow. And here I am back in the same process I've been doing. This is my 35th or 36th book. I've lost count. But virtually since going back 30 years, I can always see these same kinds of things happening for me. The right messages coming along, the right circumstances, the right people showing up, stuff showing up in the mail. I jot it down. I keep a separate file. And before you know it, I'll be over here sitting down and writing every day and just allowing it to flow. And there's something in it for everybody listening today. It's like you got to just stop the interfering process and have more of a trust and start realizing that all those things that you think of as coincidences really are just the universe just sort of aligning in a certain way to help you to fulfill a dharma that you signed up for if you just let it happen.